Welcome back to this latest episode of Japan's Top Business Interviews. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, President, Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training. My guest today is Bate Kraehenmann, who is the Managing Director of Levitronix here in Tokyo. Bate, thank you.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Bate, Levitronix, people may not know the name. Can you talk a little bit about what the business is? What do you guys do here? I can see a lot of stuff on the shelf here behind us that shows the construction of things. But what is the business?
So we're a Swiss company, mostly making fluid control devices, mostly pumps for semiconductor manufacturing and also for life science manufacturing. And the main benefit we have here, we have a unique technology that allows us to make pumps that don't create particle. And maybe if you know about semiconductor, it's all going down the nanometer. We're talking about 2 nanometers now for TSMC as the largest manufacturer. And in manufacturing, you have a lot of liquids that get used. And you can imagine if like a 2 nanometer structure and you have any particles, like any hair, that would be a disaster for making those products.
Okay, and so the purity of the
yes.
fluid
Yes.
control is critical. So
Yes.
very, very fine filters,
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So your buyers are mainly who's buying the product?
So in Japan, it's tool manufacturers that make machinery for the fabs like TSMC or Samsung or Intel. But there's also a little bit of direct business to those.
It's a very specialized
It's a very specialized area,
business
yes.
with 2 clients in Japan. It's like most people can't imagine having just 2 clients in Japan.
No, it's much more. It
Okay.
has a huge ecosystem about various processes. And I mean, even for us, it's more than 100 clients.
It's what, sorry?
More than 100 clients
Okay.
in Japan, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's getting more into the news these days. Semiconductor manufacturing, it's getting political, as we know. But yeah, we just try to do our job and bring good solutions for
How
our
long has the
customers.
company been running now in Japan?
In Japan, as an entity, now 15 years, and globally for 24 years.
Okay, so it's a relatively new company.
It's especially for semiconductor, it's a really new company. So you find companies that have much more history.
And how about for yourself? I mean, tell us a bit about your background. How did you wind up in Japan? What have you been doing with your career to get to this point?
I was born and grew up in Switzerland. I went to a technical university, electrical engineering, and then worked for Swiss Railways in a network department. And then at one point I thought, life is getting boring. If I don't change my life, it will do the same until I die. So I sold everything, moved to Japan, started to travel around.
So you saw what Levitronix was looking for engineers to come to Japan or
No,
something?
I came here by myself.
Okay, you just
Yes.
said, hang on, let's step back here. You could have gone to Australia. You could have gone to, any other part of Asia, different countries. But what made you choose Japan?
So I like to travel. I traveled actually in Australia before. I did the usual backpacking thing. I liked Japan, but in the end I thought I don't know much about Asia. I mean, if you go to school, the history is very European and American focused. Yeah. And I mean, Japan was kind of safe, was not unfamiliar for a Swiss person how it's run. And I thought Japan would be a good base for exploring the rest of Asia. And that's what I did. I came to Japan, was traveling around, neighboring countries, Korea, Taiwan, etc. And at the same time, I started to learn Japanese. And then I thought, if I'm here, why not start looking for a job? And
so you were learning Japanese full-time? You went to a language school or something like that?
Yes.
And you hadn't studied it before?
I started to study a bit like hiragana, katakana before moving here. But yes, basically I learned it here. And then at 2 contracted jobs. And then the moment I got like a seishain, a fixed, what do I say in English? A seishain employment.
Teaching, doing what? What are you working on?
A network engineer.
Network engineer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you could find work here quite easily, relatively.
It was relatively easy in the end, yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, first two jobs were as a contractor, which is kind of, you feel like kind of uneasy with that. And then I got the full-term contract. And basically, when I got it, my current company called me. It's like, we need somebody who can make the bridge between Japan and Switzerland. What do you think? And it's like, no chance. I mean, I just got my new contract, so I don't want to change job now, but they were very persistent. And then I started working for Levitronix since 12 and a half years now.
So had you worked for Levitronix previously in Switzerland? No. So how did they know about you? How did they find you?
So my best friend from university actually worked at Levitronix. So we studied together, lived together.
Right.
And the Japan business was like, okay, but they always thought it could be better. Communication was an issue. And he said, I know actually somebody in Japan who's Swiss.
Yeah.
Has like the
Speaks
same
Japanese fluently.
Speaks Japanese, has the same technical background. And yeah, that's how it started.
Oh. So for you, the attraction was that it's a Swiss company. You could probably understand culturally how to deal with headquarters easily compared to some other countries, perhaps. And also, probably, I guess, did you know about Levitronix well before you came? Your friends working there, but you...
But I didn't really know well.
No.
But also, I worked with a really big company and a really big international company, and it was kind of bureaucratic. I think it was probably normal in the end, but it was kind of exhausting. Like I said, I spent too much time doing nonsense stuff and not enough time working. And this was a young company at that time, like 40 employees worldwide. And they said, it will not be an easy job, but it's a job you can do something, you can move something. And they started as a normal employee, but it was already, if you promised if you do well, you could get managing director position in Japan. And then that happened quite fast.
So there were, in Japan, how many people were when you joined?
Including me, 4.
4?
Yes.
Wow, okay, so you're doing everything.
Yes, so that's
If
really...
there's 4 people,
you see, like, if somebody's sick, you have a problem.
Yeah.
But it was a very good time.
Yeah, I've worked in small numbers like that too. And it is exciting because you're constantly doing things. You have to cover all the bases. There's a lot of pressure, but also you feel like you're actually getting somewhere because you've got capability of control of what's going on, which is good. A big company, you often got no control. You can't influence anything. You're on the end of the influence. Do this. Okay. So at what point did you become the head? I guess you only had 4 people.
After 1 year, more or less.
1 year?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
That was actually, even for me, shocking. I didn't expect it to happen that fast. Yes. And
so this is to become the managing director?
Yes.
And how long ago was that now?
That was 11 years ago.
11 years ago. Okay, right. So what's happened in the 11 years? Have you grown the company? Is it much larger now?
Yeah, we grew the company, I think, quite well. Now we're 13 people, over 5 offices in Japan.
13?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're taking care of that. And I guess you're hiring those people as well.
Yes,
You're having your chance to select and choose people yourself, right? Which is always good.
Yeah.
Inheriting people is one thing, but being able to determine who you want in the team is good. So had you had much of a management career experience back in Switzerland before you came? No. It
was my first.
First management experience in Japan. Okay.
On the other hand, I was like, I'm an avid sports fan. I was a coach in various sports, children, adults. I wouldn't say it's the same as coaching, but it's still like you have to, in the end, guide people, make a team. So maybe I could profit from this.
Yeah, I think also with sports, I think up until about the 80s in Australia, the coaching was a type of ferocious coaching, and the coach was sort of whipping up the testosterone and all the guys to go out there and kill the enemy in the second half of the game or something, And somewhere around about the 80s, it switched, it changed, where I don't know where the influence came from, but they started to realise, well, you can't coach everybody the same way. and you've got to be coaching them one by one based on that person. Some people, maybe need pressure. Other people, no pressure is better. To be able to differentiate person by person, I think the sort of science of coaching in sports has really, really developed a long way. So you, in your experience of coaching, were you let's rev them up and send them out there, coach, or had it sort of changed by the time you got to be more sophisticated around individual needs?
I think it was already quite sophisticated. I mean, there were also programs from the government on how to become, especially youth coach, how to train children. But still, in the end, I mean, you have a fixed set of players, and you need to make best of use of what you have. I mean, you don't have the perfect team. Not everybody has the same capabilities. And
that's right.
I said some players need more one-to-one talk. Some players more prefer to be alone in certain situations. And I think that's a bit the same in a smaller team like here. But you don't do those, how do you say, testosterone speeches for bringing the people to work.
No. Yeah. And did the company give you any training on how to be a leader? Did they have a centrifugal course or something, or they just have to work it out yourself? How did that work?
I think the company did a very great mentorship. I got some books to read also, but it was more a mentorship from the headquarters.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's a bit also what my company, not only in Switzerland, but also in Japan, says. I mean, we want to have people who fit into the company as a character, and the training we can always do, even if it takes time. It's more important to have the right people than limited or a set of skills that is not that important.
How did you convince Japanese to join such an unknown, tiny little company from Switzerland that's only recently been created? Because trying to get Japanese to leave their employer and join a new company is difficult. And if you're a foreign company, it's even more difficult. And if you're a small foreign company, it's even more difficult again. And if you're an unknown small foreign company, the level of difficulty gets high. So you must have been quite persuasive to get people to join. How did you get them to join?
I mean, it helps that we are kind of seen as an innovative, exciting company that can grow. So even in semiconductor, now this year was quite good, but before it was a bit like the same old thing, and most companies just try to do what they did before with no real innovation. So there was a reputation here. We're a young, innovative company that's kind of exciting, that can have success, where you don't need to sell on margin, but more on innovation and product solution. And then also, I mean, we try to look for the customers like a Japanese company, but work more as a foreign company inside. And so what I say, there's no nomikais, or there's no forced overtime. I mean, even when I got actually promoted, suddenly people didn't leave until I left, which is very traditional. They know if you finished, just go home. I mean, I really don't care if you stay here. But I mean, I would say that at least some people think is not the good points about Japanese companies. I just say we don't do that. I mean, you have your holidays. Of course, we have a year-end event or so, but we don't have weekly nomikais where you need to use your spare time for something you may not like.
And probably don't have in a small group like that, you don't have the politics that come with big companies anywhere, including Japan, and also the hierarchy, the pressure, the conformity. I find that too, that my team, I think, they could get jobs anywhere. They're very capable. And they choose not to work elsewhere because of the atmosphere or the environment or the style, I'm Aussie. So, yes, I'm the only non-Japanese in the company, but it runs like an Aussie company in a way, because I'm Aussie and I don't like all that stuff. So we're not going to have politics. We're not going to have hierarchy. We're not going to be staying here till stupid hours. We're not going to be forcing everyone to go drinking. We'll reflect on what individuals want to do. And I think for Japanese, there's not too many companies that offer that, actually. The big ones.
I mean, but on the other hand, it's not made for everybody. I mean, there are obviously many people, they are comfortable with how the average Japanese company works. So it's the challenge is to find those people that suit that profile.
Suit that,
But I think for those, it's a really good it's a really good option.
And when you first started leading, it's all a bit of experimentation, really, isn't it? What were some things you found that worked well to unite people behind you, and as you're hiring new people in over time, to get them to blend in with the team and follow you as a unit?
I mean, I would say because I started as a normal employee, and especially after the promotion, I kind of continued that. So I was more like part of the team than managing director. We started to grow, but even there, I think and that's probably something also you get from various Japanese companies. I mean, I do everything others do. I can put out the garbage. I mean, we had an exhibition last week. I mean, when it comes up to set up the booth and to tear down the booth, I was there. Even my CEO from Switzerland would do the same. So I think that's something you see also in smaller Japanese companies that you just show you're part of the team. There may be some distance because you have more responsibility, but it's something that really, I think, shows that we are in the same boat and we try to move the boat forward together.
Yeah, that's right. So you're pulling your weight, you're leading from the front, I suppose. Yes. And I mean, I know that in the past, company real core, like the travel together, stay at the onsen, stay at the hotel, golf, go drinking, after work. Well, that's sort of gone really in many ways, hasn't it? The younger generation are like, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to waste my time on that. I got my own things I want to do. So the sort of pressure to, in a way, socialize is gone. But what have you found works well to do things together? Because, you can either have a lot of that or not much of it or something in the middle. What have you found as a nice balance?
I mean, I think it still happens naturally. I mean, I obviously also visit customers with my coworkers. And I mean, even in Japan, you travel a lot, you have waiting times, you sit down for coffee. And I think there's always enough time to exchange about business, sometimes about non-business stuff, which is appreciated by employees, I think. Yeah.
Do you do things like, do you have like shininkai, boninkai, that sort of structured sort of thing, or not really?
So last week we had an exhibition, and that's also usually a week we have a nice dinner somewhere together, but that's it. You can say it's a bonenkai, but we will not do a shininkai. Yeah.
And what about, when you came to Japan within 1 year, you're running the show pretty much, I think. That sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yes.
I don't know how long were those two first contract positions you had?
No, they were like, less than a year.
Small, short.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So this is really your major experience in leading in Japan.
Yeah.
And then after, working in the company for a year, you're suddenly the boss, right? So what have you found has worked well to get people to help you with ideas? Because you're a foreigner. You haven't grown up here, you haven't gone to school here, you haven't lived here much. They all have. Probably they know the customers better than you do. I don't know how well they know the business compared to you, but they certainly would know the Japanese side of things well. So they've got a lot of information in their heads, which we as foreigners don't have. So what have you found has worked well to get ideas out of the team to help you?
I'm not sure if I did actually something to promote that. We had employees who have had a very good knowledge. I have a leadership team in Switzerland who's also good in giving some general guidance, like not like a micromanage side, but like, that's the direction where we want to go. What do you see? Which customers could we approach, or how do you think that product would work here? So I think maybe at that point it was just, we were a team, obviously wanted to grow. We were all in the same office, that helped. That's different now.
So you have multiple locations?
Now we have multiple locations, yes.
Oh, okay.
At this point it was only one office. So you basically, whenever there's,
So how many locations are there?
5.
5?
Yes.
Wow, you're a team of what, how many? 14, 13? 14?
13 people. So you can see what the average per office is.
So is it 3-0 or 1-3?
1-3.
1-3?
Yes.
In 5 offices?
Yes.
Wow. That's very interesting.
I think
why is that required?
it's important to be close to the customer.
Is that what it is?
It's important, yes, and to have the support and the service that they expect.
I mean, again, leading 13 people in the same location is one level of degree of difficulty, but leading them across 5 locations is hugely different in terms of.
I mean,
leadership.
it's a challenge. It's actually something where we try to address better because, I'd say, the last years we grew quite fast. I mean, because of COVID, and you had the semiconductor boom.
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm the mRNA vaccine manufacturing, which helped us a lot. And it's something that is a challenge and could work better. So we now basically everything was flat. Everybody was reporting to me before, which had its limits. And now we try to make a middle layer that can be more local than I am.
And I guess, where you've got 1, 2, 3 people in a location, man, those people are busy. They are on their own. They must be unbelievably busy. So again, trying to lead people like that who are covering clients and being super busy, that's not easy because their schedules, it must be a nightmare to coordinate with your time, and just to spend time with them must be hard. And they're scattered geographically. Where are they in Japan?
Yeah, between Tokyo and Kumamoto.
Kumamoto, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So most of them are they in Osaka or?
Tokyo, a place called Ogaki in Gifuken, then Kyoto, and then Fukuoka and Kumamoto.
Oh, okay, Fukuoka. Okay, Kumamoto. So yeah, quite spread out.
Yes.
So how do you go about running this empire that's spread around the world like that?
I mean, for obviously, it comes down to hiring the people who can work in such a situation. I mean, it's obviously one of the critical points in the hiring process that they need to be aware they can be alone in their office most of the time, or maybe the 2 together. But that's it, and that's also something that some people actually really like. And some people, obviously, it's not suited for them.
And they had to pack up and leave Tokyo to move to these?
No, it's usually local hires.
Local hires, so they're not moving town.
Or actually, even sometimes, you have like the Tanshin Funin in Japanese companies.
Yes, the separation of the kids and the wife from the husband who's working one place, they're living the original place.
And we had 2 employees. I mean, one was told he has to move to Kyushu, and he just didn't want to leave his company, and that's what was why he didn't want to leave his current living place, and that's why he started to look for a job. And we said, you join us, you can work here, you don't need to you don't need to move around. And on the other hand, we had somebody who was living in Tokyo but actually wanted to come back to Kumamoto, which is also perfect for us at that time.
Perfect, yeah.
So that's also one thing that we wouldn't do anyway, like the Tanshin Funin thing, which is also quite common in the industry I work at. Actually, surprisingly common.
But it's not common for forever. I mean, it's periods of time, 3, 4 years, usually a rotation. So they disappear and then they come back. But in your case, it's probably no rotation. You disappear, you're not coming back.
Or even, I mean, it could be like, I mean, you have a distributor. I mean, they have 2 years there, 2 years there. And now I have a family, so I can really not imagine being away from them and then see them like every 3-4 weeks. So I think that's also something that as a foreign company you can offer that is quite popular.
So how do you work it? Do you have sort of a head of each office and you all get together on a call every week? How does that work? How do you keep the whole thing together?
Right now it's more like on an individual basis.
Sort of what's
like on an individual basis, like I communicate with each person.
Oh, so that way.
And now we want to have a responsible for semiconductor, and then responsible for the rest. But even there, it's I mean, coming to your main topic, I see myself more as a counselor or mentor. So I see my job more as somebody I need to help the employees to be as prepared as possible. Or to give them the means or ways to engage with the customers, how to make a presentation, or maybe come with case studies from our other foreign subsidiaries. So I see myself more there than we don't do the, number targets you have to say and that thing like that, or more like how to set a valuation, how to get a customer to start to try our products. That's more the role I see myself.
You know, I belong to Rotary Club, Tokyo Rotary Club, and Rotary was formed to get people who, in those days, who were in very siloed industries, to mix with people from other industries who they'd normally never meet. And it's a bit like that with companies when you've got people spread around physical locations, to have some means of sharing what's going on, sharing information, sharing experiences, sharing insights, sharing knowledge, you know, as a way of pooling. Because when you're in your, they say in Japan, right, the frog in the well does not know the ocean.
Yeah.
So you tend to have, you know, little wells everywhere. How do you know the ocean? Have you had any thoughts on how to try to pool some of that yet? It sounds like it hasn't got to that point yet, but surely that must be something you're thinking about.
So it's actually a discussion we're having right now, that we need to share more again information to each other. On the other hand, it's also, I mean, even within Japan, customers can be completely different, even in the same industry. Like we have two larger customers, and both are very successful in their own, and both are very important for us. But I'm still amazed how different those customers actually are. Like in how you engage them, how they engage with their suppliers. So it's I just see more like I do what is needed at the time. I mean, we see now there's not enough communication, so we have more meetings than before. We have meetings before also, like where we go more about strategy and our goals, but that's increasing right now and could get less in the future again. I'm more like with the flow, not we need to have a meeting once a week or every 2 weeks.
If you want to be successful as a leader, do the Leadership Training for Managers course. All companies need people who can both manage and lead. Leading people screams out for real skills in communication, dealing with all different types of people, being excellent at innovation, planning, delegation, handling mistakes, doing performance reviews really well, and inspiring and motivating the team. Do the Leadership Training for Managers course now in either Japanese or English. Leading is easy. Getting people to follow is the hard part. That is a great quote from Yogi Berra. Surprisingly, despite the complexities of leading here in Japan, everyone has to work it out by themselves. Foreign leaders want practical, applicable, expert advice. This is now available for the first time in history. Grab your copy of Japan Leadership Mastery on Amazon today and avoid the mystery, trial and error, especially the errors.
As I said, I mean, people are very busy with their schedules. It's actually difficult to even bring all together for a dinner.
My team is about the same size as yours, and we work in the same office. My God, trying to get them together. You know, it's a nightmare. Salespeople, they're all over the time schedules. It's just trying to coordinate people. So when you're separated physically, it must be even harder. What about building trust? You know, you were one of the team, a small team at that point, and you've been able to hire people and expand the team. You found has worked well to build trust with team members?
Well, I think it counts for your team, but also the customer relationship. I mean, still in Japan, it's an old saying, you value long-term stability. And it's something my company have, it's something I have. I mean, I'm here since more than 10 years. Our commitment to Japan is long. We're not here on a short stint and try to crunch the numbers and then leave again. And I think that's something also that helps for the employees, that helps for the customers to see whatever you're doing in the long term. And on that journey, for example, something that is kind of unusual, I mean, in our company policies, it really says it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes if you identify them, if you learn from them in the future. And that's an attitude that we try to bring to the employees, and also which is, we're here together. Whatever happens can happen. That's not the end of the world. But let's try to fix it and move to the next step.
Well, that thing about company policy, mistakes are, means of learning and developing, is very typical Western way of thinking. But in Japan, no mistakes.
I mean,
no defects here. So how do you bridge
it's
those two
it's an
ideas?
issue with customers sometimes. Why did you make that mistake on the delivery? But I think in the end, it's something that the employees appreciate, even if you need to remind them from time to time. It's really not. It's okay. I mean, nothing happened. I mean, but the employees appreciate that, and it also gives them more confidence in dealing with the customers in the end, which can be quite demanding. And just saying, you said it's a Japanese thing. I mean, my previous employee actually had like the motto. It was a bit nuanced, but like for right first time, and I saw it even there. I mean, how do we make no mistakes if we don't do anything, especially in a large company? And that's that can work in a large company, but in a small company where it will not work. I think you need to have
no defect, no mistake culture. On the flip side of that, you have Kaizen, right, which is microscopic improvements, not big leaps, because big leaps have got all sorts of experimentation, risk attached to them, and so that's like better just hasten slowly here, gradually, don't make any mistakes. We get change, we do it over time. So it is a different mentality. So how do you encourage the team to take risks though? Because you and I can say, it's okay, mistakes are a learning opportunity, going to be fine, no one's going to get fired. Don't keep making the same mistake though, but mistakes are okay. We can say that. But on the receiving end, how do you get them to actually live that, to actually do it? They can actually experiment, they can push things along to see what can happen.
I mean, first, as I said, you have that Kaizen culture in certain companies, but it's also, I mean, once you have when you communicate with the customer on a good basis. I mean, first you can learn a lot from customers, especially in Japan, from quality management, but also from other stuff. I mean, also for me, I mean, sometimes they know I'm not that much of an expert. Can you explain this and this to me? That always gives better feedback than expected. And even there, you can say, don't be afraid. I mean, you can see the customer. I mean, we had so quality is a big issue, and we grew a lot. We had issues with quality, and then we could visit like the production facility of our largest customers, and they also grew a lot. And I asked me, how do you manage to grow so much without any quality issues? And it's like, no, we have a lot of quality issues. It's a struggle every day, but you just have to take it and improve. And with, I think with those real-time examples, even saying, that's our customer. He experienced the same stuff as we. He says to me, we have quality issues if we have mistakes. So it's actually okay to do that. Maybe it's not that much outspoken, but it's not unknown in Japan. It's maybe how you frame it is more important. I mean, often when we have like those discussions about improving, it's like you need to have a story. Like it's not just this and this happened and we do this. There needs to be like a story around it that kind of wraps it in a nice way. But it's not. I think the more you talk with people here, the more it's more accepting to mistakes than I think actually. If there's like a reason behind it, and if you show you're committed to not do it anymore, you also learn from it. I would actually even say most, especially as a foreign company, if you show that process to Japanese companies, that helps along. That helps really well in the long term.
I think the Japanese mentality is like we have the same thing in Western culture that we say, if you get in the aircraft and pull down the tray, coffee stains, engines aren't being serviced correctly. They think like that, right? So they see a problem, label, not right, or maybe the product's not good. How do you overcome that?
So in most cases, there's like a justified reason behind it. So I wouldn't say overcome. It's just, thank you for pointing that out. I will look at that with our our headquarters. And I mean, the good thing is could be better sometimes, but we have a quite understanding headquarters. I mean, I think one of the strengths of our company is also we used to do business in various cultures.
When you have 4 people, it's very easy to create a culture.
Yes.
When you have 13 people and they're in 5 different locations, that's a bit more difficult.
It's more difficult, yes.
When I was in Shinsei Bank, at a point in time, we were hiring mid-career hires, and it got to the point that the mid-career population was the dominant population. And it sort of happened gradually. Didn't really notice it. So one day, look at the numbers. Oh, gee. Instantly, I thought, wow, okay, what's the culture here? There's no dominant culture anymore because all these people are coming from different cultures. So how do we have a dominant Shinsei culture? So we had to work on that to really create that dominant Shinsei culture and bring all of these new people into it. How about here? What have you found works well? Like you have, a headquarter culture, you have Japan culture, and then you have bait culture, what you like, what a Greg culture, what I like. So what have you found works well to build a culture you want in Japan?
I mean, it's an issue actually we have right now that our culture comes from the top management, and we try for the long-term future, we try to push it into like the middle management.
That's
I
Western
don't know.
culture though, right? That's
No,
Swiss
you.
culture.
I mean, as I said, there's like a company culture, and then there's a Japan culture, but obviously it comes over me. And we need to bring it further down. That in the case I'm not here anymore for whatever reasons, that it can continue to live. And I don't know at the moment what the right answer to that is.
And have the same thing. We have Dale Carnegie global culture, we have Japan culture, and then we have Greg culture. There's 3 levels, and you can't go against the dominant headquarter culture, and you can't go against Japanese culture either because you've got to fit in, but you've got to also you can direct it a little bit, and so trying to find a uniting factor, joint culture creation, we found worked quite well.
Okay.
But it only works well for the people who are there at that time. And then the people who join, they have to adapt to that culture that you've created, we found. Yeah. What about in terms of if you think about your experience to date, if people are going to ask you for advice, they said, mate, you've been in Japan a long time now, you've been running the business here, my company is sending me to Japan to run our organization in Japan, but I don't know Japan. I want to be an effective leader in Japan. What advice would you give them?
I mean, first, engage with the culture, and I mean a bit like try to learn a bit Japanese. I mean, go out, try to get basic business manners. I think people are really appreciative as a foreigner if you give the minimum of respect. Don't be the loud foreigner who just says we do it this and this and this. Another thing, communication is really challenging, and I mean often even when we hear about advising, I mean people kind of assume that one side is native in English, but the fact is actually for many companies here, including mine, I mean you have the Japanese who speak English, their non-native language, with the headquarter. And they actually have the headquarter, which is not English, who speaks English in Japanese, and that needs time.
And headquarters is the language there is German?
It's German, yes. And that needs time, and it's a really easy to create misunderstandings. I even have to tell to my employees, there's obviously that English topic comes up from time to time. It's like, there are employees in Switzerland, they feel the same as you. They're not confident in speaking English. So don't worry. But I think if you come here to Japan, you cannot spend enough time on just talking and communicating with people and really try to get what they want to say. I mean, even I struggle to a certain degree to talk with you now. It's a, and if you're in a business situation, you have less time, you have maybe pressure to succeed. Even there, you need to have enough time to talk through everything once, twice with your employees to really see, did they got what you want? Did you got what they want? What their position is? So I think enough time for listening and speaking and reinforcing what do you think? That's a bad question, but how should we do that? Or what are your concerns? But it's really important to talk a lot, I think.
What else would be some advice for them to be effective here as a leader?
And then it's probably different for smaller companies than larger companies. But once again, I mean, show that you're part of the team. I mean, don't be the expat who lives in his own bubble and doesn't really engage with the local culture. I mean, if there's like a local matsuri, maybe you can visit it or appreciate the way of living here.
What's some good advice for dealing with customers? I mean, size of the company, it varies, but I've always found that when people come to Japan and usually things are different and they can't understand why they're different and they think it should be like headquarters until they meet the customers. Then it's like, that's why we do it like that. So what's been your experience in terms of giving people advice on going to the customers early type of idea?
I mean, also there, I mean, just listen what the customer has to say. Don't tell him what he has to do, but listen first what his worries are, what his input is. I mean, as I said, we learned, I mean, our products got so much better because of Japanese customers, which helps us now competing on the worldwide market.
And that's an interesting point, because I think I cannot name a country where the buyers are more demanding or more picky than Japan.
Yes.
So, if you can sort of make it here, you can make it anywhere, because the degree of ask everywhere else is not as high as Japan. So it's a point, isn't it, about quality particularly.
But yeah, I mean, quality is obviously the starting point, and that's usually what they're most worried if you're a foreign customer. But even in a certain step, I mean, they tell you actually quite a lot, and sometimes even more than in foreign companies where you have a foreign company, you have NDAs and all that stuff. They tell you much more about the processes, about what they intend to use or why they think it's not fitting. If you have an open mind and just listen first. And I think that's also part of, I mean, what I also think really rewarding with Japanese customers is they're much more loyal. I mean, when you had COVID and delivery issues, customers here, you need to show them that you're the best, you're doing the best for making the delivery. But they stayed loyal the whole time, which was not the same everywhere in the world. They go, you cannot deliver, I go to the other company.
I don't know about Europe, but often with American companies, everyone's trained to never admit any accountability for the mistakes because of the legal process there.
Yes.
So it tends to, denial or not accepting the fault or whatever. Whereas, Japanese expectation is you're the president or managing director, you're going to turn up, you're going to say sorry, maybe bringing some omiyage, some presents as well, as you're doing a lot of bowing to show the sincerity and explain why this is never going to happen again. It's a different way of working here, isn't it?
Yes, but I also think, that whole, that deep bowing in front, I mean, you see that in TV with really large customers, but I think the daily to daily is much more nuanced. I mean, of course, you will say sorry, but in the end, it's a story, and it's what you do after that, and how we show. I mean, they usually expect an improvement anytime, but if you have a really good story and say no, it's not possible this time, or we just watch how it develops. But I think the communication after that is much more important than the initial excuse that may be sometimes necessary, but I think even there in the end, it's not what helps the customer or you.
And what has happened with AI, by the way? I mean, AI is revolutionizing business in many, many, many areas. Is AI having an impact so far for your organisation?
I mean, it's actually funny because, I mean, in the end, you have the semiconductor improvements that enable that, but the semiconductor industry is incredibly conservative.
Incredibly what?
Conservative. Conservative, yes.
Oh, not using AI.
Yes.
That's
Compared,
ironic.
it's
That's
outside
ironic.
Japan, and especially Japan. So, I mean, you see some companies use it as a trend word, but I also think, I mean, in the end, it's all about mass manufacturing and about stable mass manufacturing. I mean, you don't want to have a fab down even for one day. So I think companies are very reluctant to jump on those trains fast. So I don't think it's a buzzword. Maybe it may help in certain areas, but it's a very detail oriented. As Kaizen is I won't say it's like as a term around the world, but even semiconductor. I mean that these improvements are possible. That the small behind that are hundreds of companies, maybe thousands of companies who just try to do everything a little bit better to make a little bit a better product that can help in the manufacturing. So I think disturbing the business or so with new trends is not that common.
Disruption
of the business, yes.
And what about learning Japanese, speaking Japanese? Should the new leader coming to Japan become effectively to learn Japanese while they're here?
I mean, it's obviously it's hard. You need to commit a lot of time. But also, I mean, I learned speaking Japanese actually here. The previous company was very English based, and I had a good understanding of reading and listening Japanese, but not speaking. So I think it makes life more fun, easier, and employees appreciate it, customers appreciate it. So I would say yes, do it, but it's not easy. It's easier said than done.
Yeah, it's a time commitment and discipline too, isn't it?
Yes.
But I think you're right. It's one of those things that if you can do it, the advantages I think are even if you don't become super fluent.
Yes.
I mean, to become fluent in a couple of years is quite a challenge. I don't know two people are going to be, unless you're a linguist, you're going to be really good at languages, but that was certainly not my case. It took a long time. But then, today you can have a conversation in Japanese, even if you're making mistakes. I think people at least forgive those mistakes more than in the past, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah. What about your experience of what's worked for you to deal with hard times? Because business is up and down, and things go well, things don't go well. When you have a small number of people, two people leave, it's a disaster. In a small company, it's a nightmare trying to hire more people and so hard. It's up and down all the time. What have you found works well to deal with difficulties?
Like personally or
Yeah, personally, yeah.
Well, have your network of friends, now family. I mean, it's always something I look to see. But
how does it work though with family? Because generally speaking, when you're the boss, you can't talk to the staff because you're the boss. Wife is not in the business, and so she can be understanding to a certain extent, but can't get the whole point because she doesn't work in the business. It's hard to go to your own boss because your boss thinks, well, that's why you're there, pal. Sort it out. Sometimes when you're at the top, it's who do you talk to? It's hard to have somebody who can actually really talk about what's going on in depth with the confidentiality to be able to do that and actually get some advice that's worthwhile. So what have you found works there?
I think probably you don't want to talk about work too much if it doesn't go well. But I mean, with my wife, I can talk actually about work. And also I have kind of that relationship. I have friends in the company that I knew much longer than the company existed. And then I have obviously some friends outside the company, or we can always have a beer or a hobby and lament a bit about how tough it is or how good it could be. But I don't think I had a really experience a really hard time so far. So maybe I was just lucky.
Lucky for you.
Yeah.
Well done.
But how we met, having a network also, there are many networking events from a forum point of view, but also I think in most industries there are kind of groups or
Benkyōkai
or seminars,
groups,
which it's always nice to hang out with other people.
Yeah. And so think about your definition of leadership. How would you define leadership, Babe?
It's for me right now, it's somebody who helps employees to achieve the potential, their mission. It's not about management. It's more, I try to bring the means, the information, the training when it comes to presentation, so they can succeed without me.
And are they giving? You're talking about presentations to Japanese companies?
Yes.
Or to
there's a
or?
kind of, I always feel like there's certain ways of doing presentations. You probably should hear that those Japanese presentations where there's so much text on one slide, and then you read like 10 minutes on that, and that this is not the right way to engage with customers. And that's something, even as a company, we try to focus a lot on how, most customers, they have many suppliers, they come and go, and how can you make them that they remember you and that they remember your product. And that's one of the main missions, I think.
What are the things you found have worked well to differentiate the company from competitors?
One thing we obviously do, we have a lot of demo kits where we really bring a functioning product to the customer and he can feel and touch it and see how it works. It's something that most competition doesn't have. And also, make some hookups, like in presents. It's getting more difficult because some companies have regulations of not accepting presents. But we have our core technology is like magnetic levitation, and we have like a spindle that levitates, and just everything that helps the customer to remember you. That goes, those presentations, where we start with a foreword by the shacho, and then you already see half of your customers sleeping because it's just not exciting. And to break through that, I think is very important, and it's very. I think that's also something you as a leader should push against your employees. There's a time to do it a Japanese way, and there's a time to not do it in a Japanese way. And to tell them at this point, if you want to be remembered, that's just not the way to do it.
Or if you want to stand out.
Or if you want to stand out, yes.
The opposition, they all look the same,
we had that once with a distributor, into a new customer, and then first the distributor make a presentation, and it wasn't bad intended, but it was just boring. People were really sleeping, and then we came and we just took our demo case, put it on, showed them how a pump works, and people were just there at the table touching it and see, oh, that's really interesting. And that's just a different. You need to stand out. There's so much competition everywhere. So to bring that mentality is important, I think.
Very good. Well, Babe, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Fascinating talk today. Thank you very much. And please join us again for our next episode of Japan's top business interviews.